Pirates. Summon heroes and build the strongest family. Chapter 21. Congratulations to host for winning the A+ grade prize, the Wild Monster Crimson Mark Tree Monster. Crimson Mark Tree Monster. Strength, C. Physique, C+. Agility, C. Spirit, C. Potential, A. Overall rating, C. As a tree monster elder, it is not known for its strength. But the long years have allowed him to understand the secret of magic, allowing him to easily bless others. The Crimson Mark Tree Monster can grant others the Crown of Embers effect for 1 hour every day. It can cause people's attacks to carry extra magical damage that is difficult to defend against, and at the same time reduce the agility of the person being attacked. If you kill it and capture its heart, you can directly obtain the effect of the Crown of Embers that lasts for 10 days. The effect of the Crown of Embers is pretty good. Facing those Logia or enemies with too strong defenses, the Crown of Embers is enough to give those guys a hard time. But the problem is, I spent 1 billion wealth points on an S-level lottery, and you won a red buff for me, and you still congratulated me. System, I always feel that you are mocking me, but unfortunately I have no evidence. Duke looked at the red buff he had drawn, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Although the buff effects of the red and blue buffs are very good, they do not have much effect on Duke for the time being. The enemies Duke faces now do not need the increase of red and blue buffs. Duke directly summoned the Crimson Mark Tree Monster, and then temporarily placed it with the blue magic pattern statue outside his castle. Then Duke washed his hands again. After sacrificing a wave of luck to the Genovese family, he pressed the lottery button. System, give me another S-level lottery. After consuming 1 billion of wealth, the remaining wealth of host is worth 1,032 million. Congratulations to host for winning the S-level prize, Darius, Hand of Hero Noxus. Darius. Strength, B. Physique, B. Spirit, B. Agility, B. Potential, S. Equipment owned, none yet. Possess abilities, Massacre, Fatal Strike, Ruthless Iron Hand, Noxian Guillotine, etc. Overall rating, B. As a symbol of Noxus strength, Darius possesses unparalleled power. He is destined to bring endless blood and fire to this world, and will also bring you countless victories. Hand of Noxus. Ha ha ha, indeed, this is the normal prize for the S-level lottery. Well, the Genovese family is very lucky. Then, the next decision is yours. Duke whispered, and then pressed the lottery button again after sacrificing a wave of luck to the Lugais family. Sacrificing luck requires everything to be neat and tidy, and Duke didn't want to let go of any of the 5 major mafia families. After consuming 1 billion points of wealth, the remaining wealth of host is 32 million. Congratulations to host for winning the S-level prize, Hero Beryl Gragas. Beryl Gragas. Grade 1. Strength, B. Physique, B. Spirit, B. Agility, B. Potential, S. Equipment owned, none yet. Possess abilities, Body Bomb Impact, Drunken Rage, Explosive Barrels, etc. Overall rating, B. As the brewmaster of the Freljord, Gragas is determined to create the most perfect ale in the world. But unfortunately, he was often drunk and impulsive, and sometimes he didn't even know what he was brewing. The wine he brewed was not only a rare delicacy in the world, but also sometimes fatally dangerous. Sure enough, except for the poor Gambino family, the rest of the families have pretty good luck. Duke nodded with satisfaction, and then directly summoned the wine barrel and Darius. Want a drink? Gragas, who was drunk with a big belly, raised his glass to Duke and invited him. On the other side, Darius leaned on his sharp axe, knelt on one knee, and said in a deep voice to Duke, I will bring you countless victories. Until, conquer the whole world. For Darius, war has long become a habit engraved in his bones. The wine in the Gragas cup exudes a charming aroma, which is definitely a rare wine in the world. But Duke took the glass of wine without tasting a drop of it. Instead, he helped Darius up and handed the glass of wine in front of Darius. This world is not that simple. But I'm waiting for the day when you conquer the world for me. Duke smiled at Kaido. Darius, who has experienced hundreds of battles, is definitely the best commander in the world. A wave of draws directly summoned 2 heroes, but Duke was not busy giving tasks to Beryl and Darius. before the hero's potential has been unleashed. It is undoubtedly more appropriate to exercise and upgrade first. Wan Hao is eager to fight every day. Darius started exercising like crazy every day. Zhu Gong continued to drink every day, until he got drunk and got into a fight with Wan Hao. Duke did not care about Gragas' drinking habit, but when he learned that Gragas controlled the recipes of a large number of fine wines, I was secretly happy. It seems good for the Valoran family to open a brewery, and then use the wine barrels to provide recipes to brew a batch of good wine and sell it. After all, the charm of sauce-flavored technology could not be stopped by Blue Star in the previous life. In the pirate world where drunkards are everywhere, there is great potential for development. The wine barrel was ordered by Duke to start writing down the recipes for the wines that he had worked hard to research. And in the castle of the Bonanno family. After hearing the news that the Gambino family had been destroyed, Godfather Bonanno was filled with excitement. The Valoran family thinks that after defeating the Gambino family, they can take over the West Blue underground world. No, after the Gambino family is destroyed, Valoran will be the next to be destroyed. Ha ha ha, Mr. Li Zuoren, it's time for us to take action. Beside Godfather Bonanno, Li Zuoren, the son of Bai Xiao, the pillar of the Erbao Navy, at this moment. There was no trace of excitement or joy on his face. Instead, he looked extremely solemn and growled. Steel fist. Li Zuoren's clenched fist suddenly became dark, and with a heavy punch, he hit Godfather Bonanno directly. With a bang, a strange shadow behind Godfather Bonanno and a large number of walls were directly blown into pieces. But the next second, in the shadow under Li Zuoren's feet, a sharp shuriken pierced the throat of the horrified Godfather Bonanno. No one can stop Valoran's rise. The ignorant are doomed. Behind Li Zuoren, Jia's figure quietly emerged from the shadows. Someone has asked, when will the Valoran family unify the underground world of West Blue? Duke thought, today. As this shadow stream, Li Zuoren broke out in cold sweat on his forehead. As the next generation successor of Sanbao Navy, Li Zuoren has mastered armament hockey and observation hockey. Li Zuoren has also mastered the traditional physical art of steel fist. No pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions would be Li Zuoren's opponent. But now, right in front of Li Zuoren, under his nose, Zed actually controlled his shadow and directly killed the godfather of the Bonanno family without him noticing. What if the target of that shuriken was not Bonanno but himself? Can he escape? Li Zuoren was not sure at all and jumped up suddenly. With a few punches, he shattered all the walls and coverings around him, completely revealing himself to the moonlight. There is no shadow, what should I do with you? Go to hell, powerful steel fist. Li Zuoren stared at Jia, his body suddenly jumped up, his right fist turned black, and he slammed into Jia's head. Even with the Logia demon fruit power, under the punch of Li Zuoren that entangled a large number of armament hockey, a mortal would be severely damaged. However, just when Li Zuoren's powerful steel fist was about to hit Jia's head, Jia's body instantly turned into a dark shadow. Then, two shurikens, one behind the other, pierced Li Zuoren's abdomen. The invisible blade is the most deadly. Behind Li Zuoren, Jia, who instantly switched places with his own shadow, said coldly. Then, the moment Li Zuoren endured the pain and turned around to attack fiercely, Jia's body and shadow all sank into the ground and disappeared. Not far away, the double-barreled shotgun in Graves' hand had sprayed several projectiles at Li Zuoren. Feeling lucky. No, your opponent is me. As a killer in the shadows, Zed dislikes being exposed. Duke also didn't want Shadowstream to be completely bound to the Valoran family on the surface. To wipe out the last Mafia family in West Blue, of course, it would be more ritualistic for Graves and others to do it themselves. There was no suspense in the battle. Even though Li Zuoren, who was seriously injured, had the combat power of Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. But in front of Graves, he only received a few more bullets and soon collapsed to the ground. Graves' bullet was already entangled with a certain amount of hockey. In other words, as long as the strength, physique and spirit are strong enough. Learning two-color hockey is not as difficult as you think. Most importantly, of course, as a hero. Every hero is a chosen one, possessing great talents and potential. It is not difficult for heroes to learn dual-color hockey. But for Duke today, he just wanted to say, blindfold me, and then shoot me directly to death. Anyway, there is vitality and defense provided by the outlaw armor and other equipment. Ordinary bullet damage is completely insignificant to Duke today. After 10 minutes of rest, not even a bruise will be left. The heroes are growing up, and Duke, who exercises like crazy every day with the help of the outlaw armor, is also constantly getting stronger. His haki, under the bombardment of a large number of bullets every day, gradually began to awaken. The Bonanno family's resistance did not make any waves, and was quickly destroyed by Graves, Capone, Bej and others. The next day, most of the territories in the entire West Blue underground world were quietly hoisted with the flag of the Valoran family. The underground world of West Blue is officially unified. At this time, the name of the Valoran family began to be sung throughout the pirate world. The big forces in the pirate world don't care about an ordinary mafia family in West Blue. But as a big family that controls the entire West Blue underground world, it is enough to leave a mark in front of those big forces. The family that unified the West Blue underworld. If they continue to grow bigger, they may cause a lot of trouble. Do you want to dismantle that family now? In the holy land of Mariajoy, the blonde five elders asked in a deep voice. Ordinary mafia families don't deserve to be known to the five elders. But as the Valoran family that unified the West Blue underground world. Even the lofty five elders pay a passing attention. There's no need. The long-bearded five elders glanced at the Valoran family's information, threw it on the table, and then lowered Kaido. The situation in West Blue is getting more and more chaotic now. It would be good if a family can come out to calm the situation. After all, no matter how bad order is, it is better than no order at all. If we dismantle that family now, West Blue will be in chaos again. After the long-bearded five elders finished speaking, the curly-haired five elders also nodded and agreed, saying, "Yes, our focus is on the pirates and the Revolutionary Army. Just some gutter guy. Just let Marine and CP agents pay more attention." The bald five elders holding first-generation Kidetsu pushed up his glasses, and then said murderously, "That family can maintain the balance of West Blue, so be it. If you dare to interfere with the power of the kingdom and want to play some tricks to steal the country, then just order Marine to kill them all. There must never be another Germa 66 on this sea." The kingdom of Germa briefly unified all of the North Blue. Then it quickly fell apart under the calculations of the world government. Now, it doesn't even have its own fixed land. They can only act like warmongers and help other countries eliminate some countries that are not members of the world government, so as to maintain the only status and dignity of the Germa kingdom. As for the bald five elders, the last of the five elders, he is not paying attention to the information about the Valoran family at all. Countries in West Blue have already begun to pay heavenly gold. Next. Regarding the calculation, transportation, storage and distribution of the heavenly gold, it is no small project. All military expenditures and funds for naval headquarters come from world governments. This is also an important means by which the world government can command and control naval headquarters. Even Marine Admiral has to get a salary to eat, right? Kizaru said that no matter what, the monthly salary must not be less. The five elders put aside the Valoran family for now. And among naval headquarters, Sengoku, after taking a closer look at the information about the Valoran family. The Valoran family aroused inexplicable interest. What a strange family. Is this family really the mafia from West Blue? The information in Sengoku's hand shows. After the Valoran family unified the underground world of West Blue. Instead of massively expanding the mafia families, traditional businesses, such as pornography, gambling and drugs. Instead, while selling the so-called Valoran lottery tickets, they opened various factories in various West Blue countries and islands. Especially the so-called breweries, as well as water plants, power plants, and gas plants. Isn't this good? In Sengoku's office, Garp said casually while eating Sengoku's collection of senbei. The guy in the gutter always wants to bathe in the sun. If the Valoran family really transforms into the Valoran Chamber of Commerce, it will be of great help to us Marine. Darkness always breeds violence and chaos. But, do you think that family's ambition will just bask in the sun? Or, when the sun starts to shine, will those guys be willing to let that family bathe in the sunshine? Sengoku sighed deeply. If this continues, they will definitely get into big trouble. The kings and nobles of various countries in West Blue, including some senior officials of the world government, may not be willing to contribute money and efforts to construction. But picking peaches has always been their duty. Maybe it's not necessarily trouble, but maybe it's a surprise. He might be enough to change the entire West Blue. Garp looked at Duke's photos and information on Sengoku's desk and said in a deep voice. Then, he poured all the bag of senbei and gulu gulu in his hand into his mouth. Asshole, leave some for me. That's my last bag of senbei. Sengoku looked at Garp, who had bulging cheeks and was swallowing big mouthfuls, with veins popping out on his forehead. He grabbed Garp's neck and shook it wildly. Water, water. Garp's face turned red, and he hurriedly reached for the tea on his desk while reaching down his throat. Garp ate too much and too quickly, and it was another day when he choked on senbei. Have you unified the underground world of West Blue? It seems that maybe it won't be long before another emperor appears in the dark world. But, will your ambition only end like this? Family Valoran, bah, I look forward to the day when you stir up the whole world. In the palace of New World Dressrosa, Doflamingo grinned and said with a crazy smile. Dover longs for the chaos of the world, and at the same time, he longs for revenge on the entire world. The Revolutionary Army did not pay too much attention to the information about the Valoran family's unification of the West Blue underground world, which was the focus of the Revolutionary Army. Always trying to find ways to overthrow the rule of those evil kings and nobles, and save the oppressed civilians. Although, it doesn't seem to be of any use. A revolution that only overthrows kings and nobles without giving the common people the power to protect the country is just creating chaos in the sea. Gold in the sky has made civilians in countless world government-affiliated countries in the pirate world miserable. But in fact, it is never the world government that needs the countries that join the world government, but the countries that join the world government that need the protection of the world government. In the world of pirates, no matter how weak the world government is, the world government still has the protection and deterrence of marine and world government. As for those countries that are not members of the world government, except for a very few powerful countries, they can maintain their independence. Most of the countries that are not part of the world government have long since become a paradise for scum, villains and pirates. Of course, for ordinary people, this paradise is undoubtedly hell. You don't understand revolution. Crocodile didn't understand at first why Dasbanus refused to join his Baroque working society. Until Shadow Stream suddenly emerged and gained a huge reputation in West Blue. He easily assassinated several godfathers of West Blue's 5 major families, and also took advantage of the opportunity to kill a shadow pirate who had a bounty of nearly 100 million. Now it is the leading killer organization in West Blue. The Valoran family that unified the West Blue underground world. And the Shadowstream killer organization, which is closely related to the Valoran family. Did you reject the invitation from Baroque Works just because of this? It seems that Dasbanus's courage will only end here. This world is very vast. Crocodile held his cigar in his mouth, blew out a smoke ring, and said casually. If you are willing to reveal your identity, I believe that Dasbanus will not refuse the invitation of Baroque Works. After all, you are a member of the 7 warlords of the sea. Already almost standing at the top of this world. Quote. Next to Crocodile, Nicole Robin covered her mouth and smiled. Just a Baroque working society has never been my pursuit. Don't forget your mission, Nicole Robin. Crocodile's face was looming in the cigar smoke, and his tone was extremely cold. From the very beginning, Baroque Working Society was a tool created by Crocodile to complete his task of finding Pluton and stealing Alabasta. Even Nicole Robin is just the tool selected by Crocodile. Now easily defeated by Whitebeard, Crocodile does not trust his partners and has no partners. He is a real pirate. Of course, Mr. Sand Crocodile. Nicole Robin smiled and nodded. Robin knew very well in her heart that the day she helped Crocodile find and translate the historical text would be the day she died. But, so what? In this sea, carrying a high reward, I experienced countless betrayals and counter-betrayals alone. At the same time, she has been hunted by the world government and has lost all support. Crocodile is now her only option. Crocodile is using her, so why isn't she using Crocodile? Explore the lost history, find and translate those historical texts. She has long since become Nicole Robin, her only obsession in this world. Nicole Robin didn't know that she had a father in this world. Now, Duke has not thought about getting acquainted with Nicole Robin directly. Except for Crocodile and Doflamingo, the other Shichibukai in Seven Warlords of the Sea don't care about the changes in the underground world of West Blue. Hawkeye is busy competing with the red-haired swordsman, Moria is busy stealing corpses. Jinbei is busy guarding the Fishmen Island, while Bear and Boa Hancock have their own kingdoms to manage. West Blue. What does what happened in West Blue have to do with them? As for New World's four emperors, the four emperors don't care about the changes in West Blue's underground power. The Mafia family is too small for them. No matter how hard it is, the overlord in the shallow water area can never be equal to the dragon in the deep sea area. But soon, Duke will let the whole world understand that strength begins with weakness. Unifying the underworld of West Blue is just Duke's first step. As for the second step, of course it is to find a way to monopolize the entire West Blue and make more money. For Duke, money is real power. But before finding a way to monopolize West Blue, Duke felt that he had to solve a few small problems first. For example, how to deal with the seriously injured Li Zuoren in front of him, and the three treasures of the Flower Kingdom behind him. The Kingdom of Flowers is very strong. As the overlord of West Blue, in addition to having a large number of local troops, the Kingdom of Flowers also. It also has a total of 8 official pirate navy troops, named from 1 treasure to 8 treasure navy. Although the strength of these 8 naval forces is uneven, the pillars of each navy have at least the strength of the naval headquarters rear admiral. Among them, the most powerful pillars of the navy are powerful enough to shock the world. More than 20 years ago, Qingzhou, the pillar of the Babao Navy, had a bounty of more than 500 million, and dared to compete with Garp. Although Garp punched his head flat afterwards. But in its heyday, Green Pepper undoubtedly had at least an A+ normal Shichibukai level of combat power. If we include the Erbao Navy, which was only slightly weaker than the 8 treasure navy at that time, there are 6 other naval forces. As a country of West Blue, the combat power of the Kingdom of Flowers is simply terrifying. But, so what? The 3 treasures navy is the 3 treasures navy, and the Kingdom of Flowers is the Kingdom of Flowers. Duke's Valoran family may not be the opponent of the Flower Kingdom now. But a mere 3 treasure navy is not enough to make Duke bow his head. What's more, today's flower country is no longer the flower country more than 20 years ago. 1 billion, or give 1 billion Baileys in exchange for his life. Or, go find his bones in the sea. Duke said coldly to the phone bug. At his feet, Li Zuoren, who was seriously injured and had his hands and feet locked, looked ashen. The wealth of 1 billion Baileys was exchanged for Li Zuoren's life, and at the same time, it was also exchanged for the peace of the Valoran family and the Sanbao Navy. It's just that Li Zuoren, the son of Bai Xiaodongliang, was captured by the enemy and had to spend 1 billion belly to redeem him. Even if he is successfully redeemed, he will completely lose his identity as the heir of the 3 treasures navy. A billion. I agreed. In 7 days, I will come to visit with 1 billion Baileys. But is a mere billion Baileys enough to satisfy you? In this sea, what matters is never wealth, but power and strength. Want to cooperate? The phone bug in front of Duke showed a sharp look like an eagle and said coldly. If we cooperate, maybe I can take you a step further and let you gain real power in this West Blue and become the king of a country. In the pirate world, even I am secretly occupied the Void Throne and became the real master of the world government. But on the surface, most of the decisions in the world, all were decided through voting and consultation by the powerful kings of the world government member countries, including the abolition of the Shichibukai system. The kings of the powerful countries in the pirate world have tremendous power. The destruction of each world government member country is enough to cause huge waves in the entire pirate world. Cooperate. Help me get closer to becoming a king. This condition is very tempting. But, I refuse. Duke's determined Kaido. The power of becoming a king and ruling a country, and even indirectly influencing the decisions of the world government, and then changing the world seems very tempting. But Duke knew clearly that there was already a master on the Void Throne. The so-called world government has long since changed from a multinational democratic alliance on the surface to a secret dictatorship of IM. Such a king has no attraction for Duke. Most importantly, punching power is power. Duke only needs to grow and make money in secret, and sooner or later the heroes will bring the whole world to him. Why should he go to great lengths and take huge risks to seek the throne of the king? Do you really think that just anyone can steal a country and successfully become king? Protecting the safety of the kings and even the royal family of the participating countries of the world government is a very important responsibility of the naval headquarters and the world government. Of course, Duke never thought of becoming a king, but that doesn't mean Duke's heroes can't become kings. It is difficult for countries that are members of the world government, but countries that are not members of the world government can still make plans. Duke's firm refusal made Li Changfu, the leader of the Sanbao Navy, Bai Xiao, slightly stunned. Many heroes in the pirate world have courage and ambitions that are unimaginable to ordinary people. Bai Xiao originally thought that Duke, who had unified the West Blue underground world, would have more ambitions than just being the overlord of the underground world. But I never expected that Duke would not play according to common sense at all. If it weren't for developing a money-making monopoly in West Blue, which requires huge power to support it, Duke wouldn't even want to establish and expand the Valoran family. Wouldn't it be nice to be alone in the dark and let the heroes make money and grow? Aren't the forces controlled by the heroes the same forces controlled by Duke? Is this all the ambition of the majestic godfather of the Valoran family? Or do you really want the Valoran family to stand under the sun from now on? The Valoran family should probably be called the Valoran Chamber of Commerce. Bai Xiao Li Chengfu said in excitement. The Valoran family's efforts to open lottery shops, breweries, and water and electricity factories in various West Blue countries cannot be hidden from anyone. In other words, Duke never thought of hiding these things. Isn't the Chamber of Commerce bad? Duke calms Kaido. Be it a mafia family, the Valoran Chamber of Commerce or even the Valoran Empire. For Duke, the most important thing is always one thing. That is to strive to earn more wealth. As long as we control enough power and at the same time control the jobs and livelihoods of everyone in the country. Duke doesn't care who is the king of this country. Because as long as he wants, he can make anyone the nominal king of this country at any time. The Valoran Chamber of Commerce monopolizes West Blue, taking the first step in controlling the jobs and livelihoods of everyone in West Blue. From water, electricity and other laborious civilian basic industries. Civilians in most countries in the pirate world do not have access to water or electricity. In the pirate world, the differences in technology between countries are extremely huge. The standard of living enjoyed by commoners and aristocratic kings was also very different. Of course the Chamber of Commerce is good. Bai Xiao Li Chengfu smiled at Kaido, but a sharp light flashed in his eyes, and he secretly cursed Duke for being stupid. Is this guy worthy of controlling the entire West Blue underground world? This cruel sea has no room for weakness. If you don't want to cooperate, then go to hell. In the pirate world, most of the chambers of commerce are just the fat sheep of the pirates. At the same time, those chambers of commerce without power are also the fat that the kings and nobles covet. If you don't leave the underworld's overlord and possible king alone, why do you want to start a chamber of commerce? Bai Xiao only felt that Duke might have entered the sea in his mind. However, Bai Xiao likes Duke like this very much. Who doesn't like a stupid enemy? Duke also loves silly enemies. Especially those enemies who think he is stupid. After Duke rejected Bai Xiao's cooperation, the two quickly and friendly agreed on the time and place to redeem Li Zuoren. Then, after Duke hung up Bai Xiao's phone, he hit Li Zuoren's heart with a finger pistol. Among the training materials from naval headquarters that Galen quietly passed on. Marine 6 styles are easier to control than the two-color hockey. Why? Li Zuoren's face was full of astonishment. Before he finished speaking, he completely lost all the breath of life. Because you are no longer useful. Duke looked at Li Zuoren with a look of silence, and faintly Kaido. Not long ago, I promised a guy to visit me in 7 days. Later, I gave him a big gift. Now, it seems that someone wants to return the gift. Duke once used the same routine to visit the Ultan Rear Admiral. At this time, in the Alec Kingdom in the first half of the Grand Line, a pale man, dressed in gorgeous palace clothes, but with a strong smell of blood inexplicably lingering around his body, trampled King Alec's body under his feet. Around him, countless Alec Kingdom soldiers had turned into mummified corpses, scattered on the ground. Blood Duke Dracula as a senior cadre of the funeral home. He has a bounty of 320 million, and even once fought against the naval headquarters elite Vice Admiral Flying Squirrel for 3 days and 3 nights without losing. He alone is enough to destroy a small kingdom. The mission of Alec Kingdom has been completed. But the employer for the next mission seems to be dead. Blood Duke Dracula asked in a deep voice to the phone bug in front of him. He. Yes, our poor Mr. Gambino died at the hands of a traitor before you could take action. What a shame. In front of Dracula, the clown-like phone bug showed a look full of regret. Is it really such a pity? If it's such a regret, then let me continue to complete this mission. Anyway, the employer has already paid us $1 billion in bounty. Dracula chuckled at Kaido. He. Mr. Dracula, how could you say that? The expression on the phone bug in front of Dracula instantly changed from regret to surprise. It's a shame, but business is business. We never serve the dead. We are only responsible for turning living people into dead people. He. In a slaughterhouse in New World. One of the kings of the Dark World carrying the Shinigami scythe, the big-handed Undertaker Piccolo grinned, and then said quietly. However, Mr. Dracula still needs to make a trip to West Blue next. I heard that a killer organization called Shadow Stream has emerged in West Blue recently. He made quite a name for himself and even stole a lot of business from our funeral home. Quote. This is really a headache. Mr. Dracula, can you have a good talk with the leader of Shadowstream for me? Let them join the harmonious and friendly family of the funeral home. Quote. Under the influence of Zed and Dasbanus, Shadowstream has grown rapidly and has become the #1 killer organization in West Blue. There are a large number of idol killers, bounty hunters, and pirates who have joined Shadowstream because of the terrifying strength that Shadowstream has shown before. Of course, the secret support of Duke and the Valoran family is indispensable for this. I see. Dracula nodded. But what if they don't want to join? He. If you don't want to join us. Picro's expression became extremely cold in an instant, and he said solemnly. Then please Mr. Dracula and kill them all. The Dark World only needs one funeral home. Every king of the Dark World has a relative monopoly on a Dark World business. Any organization or force that attempts to become bigger within the areas they control. They will all be annexed or destroyed by these kings of the Dark World. The Undertaker's house springs into action. In West Blue, the Sanbao Navy, led by the White Owl Li Changfu, began to attack Valoran Island. There is the headquarters of House Valoran. There are no big waves in the waters of West Blue. Compared with the weather in Grand Line and New World, the weather in Seahai has always been relatively mild. And just on the boundless sea, dozens of pirate ships flying the flag of the Sambo Navy were riding the wind and waves. On the highest deck of the White Owl, Li Changfu was expressionless, staring at the vast sea with his eagle-like eyes. On the boundless sea, a black spot quietly appeared. Report to Lord Bai Shao that a marine warship has been spotted ahead. The watchman said respectfully to Li Changfu. On the vast sea, sneak attacks don't make much sense. When you see others, others often see you. Report to General Galen that a pirate fleet has been spotted ahead. They are the 3 treasures navy of the Kingdom of Flowers. Do you want to avoid it? The Marine lookout also asked Galen hurriedly at this time. Galen led them to defeat countless pirates and gained the trust and love of all the Marine soldiers at the 86th branch base. But, this time is different. What they faced was one of the official naval forces of the Kingdom of Flowers. Marine usually turns a blind eye to the 8 official naval armies that plunder the Kingdom of Flowers. Especially after the establishment of the 7 warlords of the sea system, they turned a deaf ear to anything done by the 8 naval forces in the Kingdom of Flowers. Can the world government recruit big pirates to plunder legally? There seems to be no problem for the 8 navy armies of the Flower Kingdom, the overlord of West Blue, to do whatever they want on West Blue. As for the towns and merchant ships that were plundered by the 7 warlords of the sea and the 8 naval armies of the Kingdom of Flowers, who cares? In this cruel sea, the cries of the weak are never heard. Since the establishment of the 7 warlords of the sea system, many Marines who once had a righteous mind have become deaf and blind. Of course, the most important thing is, as the backbone of the Sanbao Navy, White Owl Li Changfu has a bounty of 410 million. For West Blue, such a bounty amount is enough to become a legend, frightening countless pirates and Marines. The lookouts who reported the news did not think that they would be Bai Xiao's opponents, and they had no intention of fighting Bai Xiao. However, Galen didn't think so. Go up to them and defeat them. Galen stands firm. Kaido. Galen never backed down in the face of vicious pirates. Lord Galen, that is Bai Xiao, the 3 treasure navy. Next to Galen, Adjutant Groom, who had been promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, advised. Even if we defeat them with all our strength, the world government and naval headquarters will not give us awards. Lord Galen, such a battle is completely meaningless. Groom has always had justice in his heart. But he also did not suggest that Galen launch an attack on the Sanbao Navy. Even though the Sanbao Navy was originally a pirate group with a bounty on their head. What is meaning? Does it only matter if the naval headquarters and the world government's commendation license are included? No, I think we should capture the White Owl pirates here. It is of great significance to every civilian and caravan that has been robbed and harmed by the White Owl pirates. Quote. When Galen said this, he raised his big sword high, his face was resolute, and his tone became higher and higher. I know that's Bai Xiao, and I also know that's Sanbao Navy. But, so what? We have never become a Marine for the so-called awards. But, for justice. Be true to your beliefs and fight for those who cannot fight. Go forward, I will personally bring judgment to the White Owl pirates. Justice be with me. All the Marines in the 86th branch base were silent for a moment, and then Groom immediately gave out excited cheers. Next, the excited cheers of Galen's battleship instantly resounded throughout the sea. At this moment, the Marine soldiers at the 86th branch base found justice in their hearts. The vast majority of Marine soldiers have a righteous heart when they become Marines. How dare a mere warship come to seek death? Kill them. Bai Xiao Li Chengfu looked at the lone Marine warship rushing towards him, with disdain on his face, and said coldly. He doesn't like to cause trouble, but if trouble comes, he will never show weakness. Not all of his 410 million bounty came from looting towns and chambers of commerce. The Marine who once died in his hands had not only 800 but also 1,000. The cannon roared, and countless shells hit Galen's warship, causing countless splashes on the sea around Galen's warship. Occasionally, the cannonballs that were about to hit were cut in half by Galen's sword. These days, Galen, who has been exercising like crazy and hunting pirates everywhere. The level has also been directly upgraded to level 9, and he has the combat power of the A-level Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral. With the toughness passive, Garen can perform far more crazy exercises than other heroes. Galen's warships also began to fire cannons to counterattack. But in addition to making a few gaps in several Sanbao Navy warships. Apart from breaking a few masts, there was not much gained for a while. In the world of pirates, the power and accuracy of cannons on conventional ships are extremely limited. Most of the battles on the sea in the pirate world ultimately rely on hand-to-hand combat. For justice. Galen roared angrily, and charged directly towards Bai Xiao with a large sword in his hand. Behind him, countless inspired Marine soldiers also tightened their weapons and launched a charge. With a stabbing sound, sparks flew everywhere, and Bai Xiao's pitch-black fist collided fiercely with Galen's big sword. A huge shock wave then swept across the deck of the White Owl, knocking countless weak Sanbao naval minions to the ground. This power. Does the world government want to take direct action against the Kingdom of Flowers? Bai Xiao took a few steps back, feeling the terrifying strength displayed by Galen, and his face instantly became solemn. There shouldn't be such a powerful Marine general in the West Blue branch. So, there is only one answer. This is all a conspiracy of the world government. More than 20 years ago, the strength of the Kingdom of Flowers at its peak made the world governments cautious. In order to prevent the Flower Country from unifying West Blue like Germa 66, and then challenge the hegemony of the world government. This encouraged naval headquarters to take action and let Garp smash the head of Qingzhou, the strongest naval force in the Kingdom of Flowers at the time. He killed many masters of the navy of the Kingdom of Flowers, severely weakening the strength of the Kingdom of Flowers. And in the more than 20 years since then, we have been encouraging and funding some West Blue countries, constantly challenging the dominance of West Blue in the Kingdom of Flowers, and continuously weakening the Kingdom of Flowers. But now, the world government may no longer be satisfied with encouraging other countries to weaken the Kingdom of Flowers. Instead, they secretly dispatched marine experts to break the tacit understanding between naval headquarters and the navy of the flower country, kill a few navy armies and directly weaken the strength of the Kingdom of Flowers. Unfortunately, Bai Xiao's Sanbao Navy seems to have become the first target selected by the world government. Bai Xiao's face changed greatly and he hurriedly looked around the sea. After finding no other marine battleships, he said sadly, "Is it just you? What do you think I am? I'm Bai Xiao." Bai Xiao finished speaking fiercely, without any hesitation, directly transformed into the strongest harpy form. Using all his strength, he used his pitch-black claws to strike Galen's chest at an extremely fast speed. Steel Claw. Bai Xiao growled. It combines the ancestral steel fist of the Three Treasures Navy, plus the powerful physical fitness and agility increase brought by the Zone Bird Fruit Eagle Owl form. Although Bai Xiao's steel claws are not as good as the Cone Dragon Cone Nails of Qingjiao, which was once the mainstay of the Eight Treasure Navy. But more than once, he tore the head of a great pirate with a bounty of over 100 million. Facing the White Owl's steel claws with both speed and strength, Galen's eyes were sharp, he did not dodge, and he secretly shouted, "Courage!" Then, Galen suddenly swung his big sword, and while Bai Xiao was attacking him, he slashed at Bai Xiao hard. After several stabs, White Owl's steel claws tore through Galen's courage shield and the sparks. Then he broke through Galen's increasingly proficient armament haki, leaving several deep claw marks on Galen's chest. Blood flowed horizontally, and blood continued to drip from Galen's chest. Bai Xiao's chest also had a deep scar visible to the bone. Bai Xiao retreated suddenly, his face full of disbelief. How is it possible? There is something wrong with that sword. Bai Xiao could not have been injured so badly. As a strong man who is almost the same generation as Qingjiao, Bai Xiao's armament haki has long been mastered. Coupled with the powerful constitution increased by Zone Devil Fruit, a casual attack would never leave the slightest wound on his body. But Galen's sword actually released a strange energy when it hit him. It instantly interfered with the flow of armament haki in his body, causing his defense to drop instantly. Is this why the world government only sent you here? This sea is really vast. Bai Xiao looked at the young Galen and said with emotion. He knew very well that he would not be Galen's opponent now. After barely breaking through the courage shield and Galen's armament haki, his steel claws only damaged a little of Galen's fur. And that bit of fur is still recovering rapidly. Galen did not answer, but just held the big sword in his hand tightly, intending to pursue the victory and kill Bai Xiao directly under the sword. Etc. Bai Xiao looked at Galen who was about to rush over and said hurriedly. There is no need to fight between us. If the world government wants to weaken the Kingdom of Flowers, our Sanbao Navy is willing to cooperate with the world government to take action. Even directly divide or subvert the flower country. Li Chengfu has always wanted to overthrow the Kingdom of Flowers and restore the rule of the Li family. But he had never thought of using the power of world government before. Because in front of the world government, the current Sanbao Navy is just like the Bonanno family that he once supported. Even if the country is successfully restored in the end, no one can tell whether this country belongs to the world government or the Three Treasures Navy. But now, Li Chengfu felt that he had no other choice. Galen gave him no other choice. Sorry, I never said I was a subordinate of the world government. For justice. Galen launched a charge under Li Chengfu's disbelieving eyes. After dozens of quick handovers, Li Chengfu once again suffered several wounds on his body, and was about to escape through the air with the power of the Eagle Owl fruit. A huge golden sword fell from the sky and directly cut Li Chengfu, who was flying in midair, into two halves together with the White Owl. Bai Xiao died, and the Sanbao Navy collapsed immediately. Countless Sanbao sailors either ran for their lives or chose to surrender obediently. In the pirate world where strong men can destroy the world, the victory or defeat between the top strong men is often enough to determine the outcome of a war. On the second day, the news that Marine Branch Rear Admiral Galen killed Bai Xiao and destroyed the Sanbao Navy shocked the entire sea. That guy Bai Xiao actually died in the hands of a Marine. Ah, Marine again. In addition to that guy Garp, Marine has another powerful newcomer. Really, those Garp and Marine. I want to take revenge on my grandchildren. Qingzhao, the pillar of the 8 treasure navy near the Kingdom of Flowers, watched the news of Bai Xiao's death and roared angrily. His relationship with Bai Xiao is not considered friendly. But every time I think about my head being hammered flat by Garp, and the jade ice cap that I can only look at but never open again. Qingzhao's hatred towards Garp and Marine is endless. Dad, Marine broke the tacit understanding with us and killed Bai Xiao Dongliang. Are we going to avenge him? Looking at the extremely angry Qingzhao, the relatively young Lao Kai touched his head and asked straightforwardly. Revenge. Qingzhao looked at Lao Kai who seemed to want to avenge Bai Xiao. The anger towards Marine in his heart suddenly turned into extremely melancholy, and then he stared deeply into Lao Kai's eyes and said in a deep voice. Why should we avenge Bai Xiao? Why should we avenge Bai Xiao? That guy Bai Xiao, does he really think that no one knows about some of his thoughts and plans? Even if that Marine star didn't kill Bai Xiao, sooner or later, someone else will kill Bai Xiao. As my grandson and the pillar of the Babao Navy, please clear your mind. If he really wanted to take revenge on Marine, Qingzhao would have had his head crushed by Garp. When the Baoyu ice cap can no longer be opened, Green Pepper can launch it against those Marines in West Blue. Green Pepper is not just one person. What he is thinking about now has never been about revenge for Bai Xiao. Rather, does Bai Xiao's death mean that the world government has begun to take direct action against the Kingdom of Flowers? Today's Babao Navy cannot do without the support of the Flower Country. Qingzhao looked a little sad, looking at the confused Lao Kai. I began to think about whether to marry Bao Navy as soon as possible so that the two Navy forces can work together to resist the hostility of the world government. Among the world government, the 5 elders who learned the news that Marine Rising Star Galen had killed the White Owl of the Flower Country were also a little surprised at this time. Can a branch rear admiral kill a guy like Bai Xiao? It seems that another monster has appeared among the Marines. The blonde 5 elders said in admiration. The monster just killed Bai Xiao, but it is far from being called a monster. The bearded 5 elders looked contemptuous, and then said in a deep voice. However, that guy acted recklessly and killed Bai Xiao directly. Will it affect our layout of the Kingdom of Flowers? If the Kingdom of Flowers launches a rebellion with all its strength, the entire West Blue will be in chaos. As the overlord kingdom of West Blue, the Flower Kingdom has 7 other naval armies and a large number of directly governed kingdom troops even without the 3 treasures navy. In West Blue, almost no country can stop the army of the Kingdom of Flowers. Don't worry. Killing Bai Xiao will be enough to shock the Kingdom of Flowers. Curly hair 5 elders smiled Kaido. The current Flower Country is no longer the Flower Country it once was. They were no match for us more than 20 years ago, and they can't stir up any trouble now. He has absolute confidence in the strength of world government and naval headquarters. If the Kingdom of Flowers dares to launch a rebellion, then the Kingdom of Flowers will be completely wiped out. The bald 5 elders, who embraces first-generation Kidetsu, are full of murderous intent. It is impossible for the Kingdom of Flowers to affect the balance of this sea. However, there is a new Marine star like Galen among the Marines. Don't you think Marine's power is a bit too strong? The bald 5 elders did not pay attention to the Kingdom of Flowers, which had been weakened by the world government for decades. Instead, they set their sights directly on the naval headquarters. This year's military expenditures for naval headquarters should be appropriately reduced. There is no need for another hero like Garp in Marine. The bald 5 elders finished speaking quietly, and the other 5 elders nodded quickly. Subsequently, Galen's commendation appointment was unanimously approved. Reward for merit, this is the basic principle of Marine and world government. But there are too many ways to reward people. The world government needs the strong combat power of the naval headquarters, but it has never needed the naval headquarters to have too strong combat power. What they want is always to maintain the balance of this sea. And I never thought that naval headquarters would wipe out all the big pirates in the first half of the Grand Line in the New World. Without the wreaking havoc and threats of countless big pirates. How can the world government collect heavenly gold, and how can it continue to weaken the power of the countries that join the world government? Politics is a superb art. Promote Galen's rank from Rear Admiral to Vice Admiral, and appoint him as West Blue Marine Inspector, responsible for inspecting the major marine bases in West Blue. With a combat power like Galen's, shouldn't he be transferred directly to Naval Headquarters and then fight in the New World? What on earth were those five guys thinking? Inside Naval Headquarters Marineford, Sengoku looked at the world government's commendation order and growled in a low voice. Since the beginning of the Great Pirate Age, countless pirates have gone to sea, and the strength of Naval Headquarters has also continued to expand. But compared to the countless pirates, the number of troops is still relatively scarce. Especially in New World. It is a paradise for pirates. The four emperors rule almost all the sea areas of New World. The Naval Headquarters sphere of influence in the New World only has a few marine bases that serve as nails. Sengoku and some righteous marine executives have always wanted to break into the New World, destroy the four emperors, and even completely end the era of great pirates. Executing Ace, and then attracting Whitebeard to siege and kill him, was an effort and trial made by Sengoku and others. For Naval Headquarters, every powerful combatant is precious. If you want to compete with monsters like the New World Four Emperors, only the same monsters can do it. In the world of pirates, only the top strong ones can decide everything. And Galen, who soon became a marine and was able to kill the White Owl on his own, undoubtedly has the potential to become the top powerhouse in the sea. But to fully realize your potential, you often need to go through constant battles with the strong. And put Galen in West Blue where there are only a few big pirates. Undoubtedly, it not only restricted Galen's further advancement in military rank, but also restricted Galen's further growth. However, it seems that the improvement of heroes' strength does not necessarily have to go through battles. They can also be upgraded through exercise. That's okay. No one can stop the growth of heroes. After Sengoku sulked at the five elders in the office, he finally reluctantly accepted the five elders' commendation appointment for Galen. Even though Sengoku is well aware that the five elders are intentionally limiting the growth of Naval Headquarters. But unless Sengoku and many marine executives completely give up their justice, sit back and watch the entire sea become chaotic. Otherwise, they will face the world government, which firmly controls all marine military expenditures. Sengoku has no countermeasures at all. Marine is also a human being and has to get paid to eat. Not to mention the various warships and weapons that are extremely important to Marine. These are all under the control of the world government. We can't let Marine bases all over the world raise their own military expenses, right? So what is the difference between Marine and pirate? Money is also an extremely powerful force in many cases. In the world of pirates, apart from the top powerhouses, the majority are often ordinary people. Bai Xiao died, Galen was promoted, and the Shichibukai looked at Marine with a new star. It was at this time that the four emperors of the New World noticed Galen in West Blue for the first time. That guy Bai Xiao died at the hands of a marine newcomer. On Ghost Island, Kaido of the Beasts burst into tears while drinking heavily after seeing the news of Bai Xiao's death. Kaido once invited Bai Xiao to join his Beasts pirates when he was young. Kaido has always had a soft spot for those zone fruit users above the sea. But the next second, Kaido drank all the wine in his gourd. The tears in his eyes disappeared instantly and turned into an incomparable chill, and he said coldly. What a waste. This sea can never tolerate any weak people. A dead Bai Xiao would not attract any interest from Kaido. A new star emerged from West Blue who is powerful enough to kill Bai Xiao. Marine's power has become stronger again. But who cares? Young ladies, there's a party. New World, on the Redfords, Red Hair threw aside the newsprint of Galen killing the White Owl and shouted loudly. Many cadres of the Red Hair pirates also immediately gave out banquet cheers. Just a marine star who killed White Owl is not enough for Red Hair pirates to take it seriously. They are the Four Emperors group, and they have reached the top of the entire New World. Did Bai Xiao actually die at the hands of a marine newcomer? We are all remnants of the old era. Whitebeard looked solemnly at the news of Bai Xiao's death. Neither White Owl nor Galen's power at this time was taken seriously by Whitebeard. Whitebeard doesn't care that Marine has one or two more rising marine stars. After all, as the world's strongest man and the leader of the world's strongest pirate group, Whitebeard's enemy has never been Marine. But, years. Whitebeard is old. But, before I send all my children safely to the new era, no one can defeat me. Ku la la la, lousy is Whitebeard. Whitebeard looked at the captains on the Moby Dick who were laughing and laughing around him, with a satisfied smile on his face. Whitebeard's ambition was never to become the pirate king, nor was it to become the strongest man in the world. Being able to have a large family and live happily with them. For Whitebeard, that was enough. The red-haired Kaido and Whitebeard both had their eyes set on the rise of Galen, the rising marine star. In making friends with a large number of emperors of the Dark World, as the Big Mom with the strongest intelligence among the four emperors group. He just glanced at Galen's information and immediately forgot about it. Well, everyone, let's have a tea party. This way I can eat delicious mousse cake. Big Mom said, drooling like a child in anticipation. A rising marine star stuck in West Blue couldn't attract the attention of too many big moms. She has received information about Galen being honored by the world government. At this time in West Blue, they just learned that Galen was promoted to Vice Admiral of the branch. And Duke, who also serves as West Blue's patrol envoy, is full of surprises. He originally thought that after Galen killed Bai Xiao this time, he might be transferred to Naval Headquarters or New World. Unexpectedly, the world government actually kept Galen in West Blue. This is simply creating the best opportunity for Duke to monopolize the West Blue. As Marine Vice Admiral, Galen also killed the legendary White Owl of West Blue. Throughout West Blue, it has a great intimidating power. As the former savior of Vice Admiral Galen, the Valorant family corrected their evil ways and founded the Valorant Chamber of Commerce. Dedicated to the welfare and development of all the people of West Blue. Galen Vice Admiral can't support it. And Galen Vice Admiral has fully supported it. What if those small countries or small forces in West Blue dare not to support it? That simply doesn't give Galen Vice Admiral face. Not giving face to Galen, Vice Admiral, is not giving face to Naval Headquarters and world government. In the entire West Blue, which country dares not to give face to Naval Headquarters and world government? The Flower Country said that they are still worried that Galen is a member of the world government, and it is not too late to hide from Galen. The Valorant family's lottery business, as well as its monopoly plan on daily necessities such as water, electricity, and other daily necessities, began to advance smoothly in West Blue. Some originally wanted to pick the peaches of the Valorant family lottery business. Or the aristocrats who open a lottery shop themselves. I also gave up the idea after thinking about it for a while. Marine Vice Admiral, even if it is just a branch Vice Admiral, there is no doubt that he stands at the top of the power in the entire sea. Some people say that the most profitable industry in the world is finance or banking. But Duke never thought so. The finance or banking industry has never been a producer of money, nor has it controlled the most critical means of production. Industries that involve basic necessities such as food, clothing, housing, transportation, and water, electricity, etc. are the real huge profits. Duke doesn't have much ambition and just wants to set a simple small goal first. For example, the water and electricity provided by the Valorant family can be used by more than 1 billion people in the entire West Blue. In the dark, the Valorant family, as well as Graves, Set and others provide military deterrence. In the Ming Dynasty, Vice Admiral provides official support. The Valorant Chamber of Commerce founded by Duke began to develop rapidly in West Blue. At the same time, it has been almost a month since I came to West Blue. Bastiu Rear Admiral, who has never been able to solve the ocean disaster Gangplank, can no longer hold back. Have you finally determined the whereabouts of that guy Plank? Charge over and defeat them. Bastiu Rear Admiral said excitedly. However, we have not notified Galen Vice Admiral and completed the encirclement plan with Galen Vice Admiral. If we rush forward like this, Lieutenant Colonel Moore, Bastiu's adjutant, reminded. As the great pirate ocean calamity Gangplank who caused a lot of trouble in West Blue, he is not necessarily easy to mess with. Who do you think I am? Just a pirate from West Blue, I can definitely take care of him by myself. Everyone, full speed ahead. Bastiu Rear Admiral said firmly. When he first came to West Blue, he was a rear admiral, and Galen was still a marine colonel. But now, Galen has been promoted to vice admiral and became the West Blue patrol envoy. He's still just a rear admiral. If Gangplank is not killed and promoted to vice admiral, where will Bastiu's reputation as rear admiral go? Bastiu never felt that he needed Galen's assistance in dealing with Gangplank. He is about to be promoted to naval headquarters, Bastio the same blade. Rear admiral. Then, we are about to be promoted. Bastiu rear admiral, who has naval headquarters vice admiral combat power, was beaten up by Gangplank. If Galen hadn't arrived in time to support him, and Gangplank had deliberately held back, the shark sword Bastiu god rear admiral will probably become the dead fish sword Bastiu rear admiral. Gangplank easily defeated naval headquarters rear admiral Bastiu. Then with the new marine branch vice admiral. After the news came out that the West Blue Inspector Galen and Vice Admiral fought without a winner for a day and a night. The reputation of Marine Calamity Gangplank and Marine Vice Admiral Galen once again spreads to West Blue. This wave is simply a win-win situation. Well, that means Galen and Gangplank each win once. Only Bastiu Rear Admiral is wounded in the world. Successfully achieved. Gangplank's reputation is so great that even when he arrives at some small West Blue countries, he doesn't need to plunder them at all. Those sensible nobles, wealthy businessmen and even kings of small countries would immediately prepare a large amount of wealth and respectfully send Gangplank away. In addition to beating the pirate ship Plank one by one on the sea, they were either conquered or destroyed. For those aristocrats and wealthy businessmen, as long as they were willing to pay, Gangplank rarely went on a killing spree. After all, those wealthy merchants and nobles are resources for sustainable growth. It's okay to cut leaks occasionally, but how can we pursue a sustainable development path if we even dig out the roots? West Blue has been regarded by Duke as its base. Gangplank defeated Bastiu Rear Admiral easily, and the reward was increased accordingly, directly to 120 million. He has become one of the few supernovas in the pirate world who has quickly exceeded 100 million in bounty before entering the Grand Line. This time, Plank's reputation spread directly throughout the world. Morgan's News Corporation, which was afraid of chaos, even praised Plank, saying that it was expected to enter the New World and challenge the Four Emperors. Even the high-ranking Four Emperors of New World paid attention to Gangplank for the first time. Even if you look at the entire New World, the pirate with a bounty of over 100 million is considered a strong man. The captains of the more than 40 pirate groups under Whitebeard mostly have bounties of just over 100 million, and have the combat power of Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral plus. Just this, plus the 16 captains of the Whitebeard Pirates headquarters. There is no doubt that the Whitebeard Pirates are the strongest pirate group in the world. In the entire pirate world, there are hardly more than 500 powerful men with Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral plus level or above. As for the Beasts Pirates and the Big Mom Pirates, the total number of pirate cadres with bounties over 100 million is less than 40. This was only the bounty that Gangplank had obtained shortly after he went to sea. If this trend continues, Plank may become a super pirate with a bounty of nearly 1 billion. The Four Emperors took a fancy to Plank's potential. But before Plank successfully entered the New World, the Four Emperors only paid attention to Gangplank and did not make any invitation. Plank does have great potential. But above this sea, the most indispensable thing is those short-lived geniuses. The strong reputation brought great convenience to Plank. But when Plank's name spread to the sea, it also meant that Naval Headquarters and the world government will also launch a more powerful encirclement and suppression of Plank. Only if Gangplank successfully survives the siege of Naval Headquarters and reaches the New World alive can he be qualified to face the Four Emperors. Not even Bastiu Rear Admiral is a match for Gangplank. Such a guy must not be allowed to continue to develop. Quote. He must be caught as soon as possible. Sengoku's face was heavy. He squeezed Gangplank's latest bounty order in his hand, and said solemnly. Although Sharkakuzu Bastiu only has the rank of Rear Admiral now, Sengoku and other marine executives know it very well. After Bastiu's Rear Admiral successfully flew and slashed not long ago, he already has the combat power of Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. The capture of Gangplank was originally just to let Bastiu Rear Admiral go through the process, add some achievements, and then promote Bastille Rear Admiral to the Vice Admiral of the headquarters. But Sengoku and others never expected that Bastille Rear Admiral, who had mastered the flying slash, was no match for Gangplank. This undoubtedly made Sengoku and others pay more and more attention to Plank. If it weren't for fear of causing greater panic and fueling Gangplank's arrogance, Sengoku would have directly set Gangplank's bounty at 300 million. A big pirate with a bounty of around 200 million often has to be dispatched by the naval headquarters vice admiral to have a chance to catch him. Let me go to West Blue. I will personally chop off Gangplank's head in the name of absolute justice. Quote. After Sengoku finished speaking, Buster Call Vice Admiral Doberman, who had several scars on his face, said coldly. As a hawk in the naval headquarters, Doberman Vice Admiral believes in absolute justice and will do whatever it takes to win. In the case where Admiral of Headquarters and alternate Admiral mostly need to be stationed in New World and Naval Headquarters. An elite Vice Admiral like Doberman is already the strongest combat force that Naval Headquarters can mobilize in a short period of time. If it's not enough, add Vice Admiral Maynard. Sengoku said quietly Kaido. In addition, for this arrest, it is best to work with Galen Vice Admiral. We must catch guys like Gangplank before they grow into evil enough to harm the world. Either don't do it, or do it absolutely. One Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral with A-level combat power, plus one Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral with A-level combat power. Coupled with Galen, who is likely to also have Elite Vice Admiral combat power. 3 against 1, no matter how hard you think, you can't lose. Doberman Vice Admiral nodded seriously, and then rushed to West Blue with Maynard Vice Admiral, hoping to capture Plank as soon as possible. In the West Blue, Duke also had a slight headache at this time due to Gangplank's rapidly growing bounty and Naval Headquarters' vigorous pursuit of Gangplank. Gangplank's level has just been upgraded to level 14 at this time, and he only has the combat power of the A-level Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral. If they really have to face the encirclement of Doberman Vice Admiral and Maynard Vice Admiral, they will have to expose Galen or let the Valoran family fully support Gangplank. Otherwise, it would be difficult for Plank to get any benefits at this time. Of course, what troubles Duke the most is that he has no money. That's right, the patriarch of the Valoran family, the president of the Valoran Chamber of Commerce, and the behind-the-scenes controller of all lottery shop businesses in West Blue. Duke has no money now. Once completed, water, electricity and other factories can indeed bring a steady stream of terrifying profits to Duke. But before those water and electricity plants were built, the expenses were just as huge. Infrastructure is something that ordinary people cannot afford. Looks like it's time to play with the big pen. Duke's eyes gradually deepened. On the West Blue map in front of him, he directly marked 2 places with red dots. Mezenko Island is a supply point that must pass through for the heavenly gold collected by several kingdoms in West Blue. The 74th branch base of Naval Headquarters is stationed here. And the base director of the 74th branch base is the same as Galen. He also holds the rank of Vice Admiral of the branch. And he once personally captured several big pirates in the New World who had bounties of over 100 million. It is the Marine General specially sent by the world government to ensure the safety of Tianjin. He has a combat power comparable to the Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral. The officers of ordinary Shihai branch bases usually only have the rank of Rear Admiral, and their own combat power is often 2 or 3 levels lower than that of Naval Headquarters generals of the same level. Coupled with the powerful CP agents and marine generals responsible for transporting the heavenly gold, and the crazy pursuit of the world government that they will inevitably face after plundering the heavenly gold. Countless people in the pirate world know that sky gold is a huge wealth, but there are only a few people who have the strength and courage to touch sky gold. Doflamingo dared to plunder the heavenly gold, but it was never his strength, but his background and the secrets he knew. When Doflamingo plundered the heavenly gold and became Shichibukai, it was far from the strength and power it has today. Most people don't dare to dream of gold in the sky, but Duke does. Anyway, it was Ocean Disaster Plank who started to plunder the gold from the sky. What does it have to do with Duke? As for the world government's crazy pursuit, Naval Headquarters now dispatched the elite Vice Admiral Doberman, plus the Headquarters Vice Admiral Maynard to hunt down Gangplank. It is only a matter of time before we send out alternate admirals or even admirals. Don't worry if you have too much debt. Lack of money will be Duke's biggest problem. After all, how can you become strong without spending money? As for the other red dot on the West Blue map, it is one of the biggest treasures known to Duke in the pirate world, the Baobao Navy's Baoyu Ice Cap. Within the Baoyu Ice Cap, there are countless treasures accumulated by the 8 Treasure Navy Army over hundreds of years. Only by mastering the supreme secret of the 8 Treasures Navy, the Cone Dragon Cone Nail can open the Baoyu Ice Cap and then take out the hidden treasure. The Cone Dragon Cone Nail is the supreme secret of the 8 Treasures Navy that combines armament haki and bachangquan. The powerful secret of being able to concentrate all of one's power into one point, and then completely crush the enemy it attacks from the inside out. Comparable to the armed color emission that only S-level generals and emperors in the pirate world can successfully comprehend. The 10,000 years ice of Baoyu Ice Cap, even with an ordinary A+ Shichibukai's combat power, is difficult to break without mastering its unique abilities. At least in his heyday, after Garp smashed his head and destroyed his Trionosaurus spike. Qingjiao broke his head, but failed to break the Jade Ice Cap. But Duke wanted to know whether the sharp axe of Noxus' hand could break through the ice of 10,000 years. The hand of Noxus is invincible. Especially when the S-level lottery held by Duke drew a Black Cutter. Black Cutter, S-level equipment. After equipped, it can increase the user's health, attack power, and mental activity. And it allows the user's attacks to continuously reduce the target's defense and increase his own movement speed. The Black Cleaver was directly equipped by Duke in the hand of Noxus. The current hand of Noxus was also in constant battle with Seti, Graves and others during this period. The level has been upgraded to level 6, and he has the combat power of a Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. A few years later, the reward was only 210 million. Lao Kai, who also had the combat power of Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. After understanding the Cone Dragon Cone Nail, he can successfully open the Baoyu Ice Cap. Now, Darius, the hand of Noxus, who also has a combat power, holds the artifact Black Cutter. Duke feels that there is a high possibility that Darius will split the Baoyu Ice Cap. If it doesn't work, just wait until Darius reaches level 9 before trying again. Anyway, it is relatively easy to level up the heroes in the early stage. The hand of Noxus and Gragas, the wine barrel summoned by Duke before, took advantage of the night. Quietly left Valoran. When the wine barrel has written down most of the wine recipes he knows. It doesn't make much sense for the wine barrel to remain in the Valoran family. On the contrary, I am about to rob the heavenly gold. And Plank, who is destined to be chased by the world government, needs his help even more. Gragas and hand of Noxus Darius. Duke never exposed them to the world. The Valoran family is already powerful enough now. Even with a few more powerful heroes, it will be difficult for the Valoran family to open up a new situation in West Blue. Before we prepare for a complete showdown with the world government. Concealing the strength of many heroes. Scattering them among various sea areas and major forces is obviously more beneficial to Duke. Sooner or later, the power of the Duke heroes will cover the entire sea. But before that, Duke felt that he had to think of more ways to make some money. Duke has never thought of stopping at the water and electricity infrastructure factories all over West Blue. There is no way. In order to make more money, early investment is necessary. Infrastructure and farming have long been integrated into Duke's soul. 3 days later, Gragas successfully joined Gangplank's pirate fleet. And after beating up a large number of cadres of the Gangplank pirates, he successfully became a senior cadre of the Gangplank pirates. Gragas is very good at drinking and fighting. He was born to be a pirate. And successfully joined the Gangplank pirates in Gragas. The hand of Noxus also quietly arrived at the Jade Ice Cap, and was about to do something big. A senior cadre of the funeral home, Blood Duke Dracula, was wearing a gorgeous noble uniform, his whole body was pale and smelled of strong blood. Already arrived at West Blue. Are you the leaders of Shadow Stream? It's not easy to find you. Dracula casually threw aside the Shadow Stream member in his hand, whose limbs had been broken off and whose blood had been sucked out. He said in a deep voice to Dasbanus and the Lord of Shadow Stream, Zed. In order to determine the whereabouts of Zed and Dasbanus, Dracula tortured many members of the Shadow Stream. Now, as a price for wasting a lot of my time, I'm only asking once. Are you willing to join the harmonious and friendly family of the funeral home? Blood Duke Dracula grinned and asked arrogantly in an aristocratic tone. Thanks for watching.